Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's video we are going to be continuing on with my series explaining how each US city got its name. Today's video will cover cities beginning with L and P, specifically Lowell, Massachusetts to Pasadena, California. Now if you want to see parts 1 to 3, or just see the timestamps, check the description below. Anyways, without further ado, let's get started with the video. Now first up we have Lowell, Massachusetts. Lowell was named after a local businessman named Francis Cabot Lowell, who was a textile industrialist that played a big role in the Industrial Revolution in Massachusetts. Next we have Lubbock, Texas. Lubbock was named after Thomas Saltus Lubbock, who was a Texas Ranger and a Civil War veteran. Due to his prominence in Texas, the city of Lubbock was named after him during its founding in 1890. Next we have Madison, Wisconsin, which was simply named after the 4th US President, James Madison. Next we have Manchester, New Hampshire. Manchester, New Hampshire was named after Manchester, England, because of an industrialist named Samuel Blodgett. Blodgett envisioned Manchester, New Hampshire becoming a big industrial city and wanted to mimic Manchester, England, so he named it after Manchester to reflect his vision. Next we have McAllen, Texas. McAllen was simply named after an early Scottish settler named John McAllen, who owned a large farm where the city currently stands. Next we have McKinney, Texas. McKinney was named after one of the signees of the Texas Declaration of Independence in 1836, Colin McKinney. Next we have Memphis, Tennessee. When Memphis was first founded at the bank of the Mississippi River in 1819, the founders chose to name the city after the ancient city of Memphis, Egypt. This was done because of the strategic location of Memphis, Egypt, and the founders of Memphis, Tennessee hoped that Memphis would become a strategic city along the Mississippi River, just like Memphis, Egypt, so they copied the name. Next we have Menifee, California. Menifee was named after a local miner named Luther Menifee Wilson, who in the 1880s discovered a large quartz lode, which then led to a short mining boom in the area. Next we have Meridian, Idaho. Meridian is named after the Boise Meridian, which the city of Meridian is located directly on top of. The Boise Meridian and the baseline intersect at 43.6 degrees north and 116.4 degrees west, which is the exact same location as Meridian, Idaho, hence the name Meridian. Next we have Mesa, Arizona. Mesa is named after its geography, being of higher elevation than most of the surrounding area. Mesa is a Spanish word meaning table and is often used to refer to areas of higher elevation in a plateau. Next we have Mesquite, Texas. Mesquite was simply named after the nearby Mesquite Creek, which was in turn named after the mesquite trees that lined the creek. Next we have Miami, Florida. Miami was named after the Miami River, which flows through the city, and in turn was named after an indigenous group called the Miami, who lived around Lake Okeechobee, around 120 kilometers northwest of present-day Miami. Next we have Miami Gardens, Florida. Now Miami Gardens is a very new suburb of Miami, only being around 20 years old, so it simply took the name of the existing Miami Gardens Drive, which is also known as Florida State Route 860. Next we have Midland, Texas. Midland was originally a midpoint station between El Paso and Fort Worth, built by the Texas Pacific Railroad, and as the city eventually grew larger, it was named after the midpoint station and thus became Midland. Next we have Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The name Milwaukee is derived from the Potawatomi and Ojibwe Indian words Minnewaking and Ominnewaking, which both mean beautiful place or meeting place by the river. The area, which is present-day Milwaukee, was the home to several scattered tribes, and the confluence of rivers was a good central meeting spot for them. As French explorers came, chose to name the area Milwaukee. Next we have Minneapolis, Minnesota. Minneapolis is a fusion of the Sioux Indian word mini, meaning water, and Greek word polis, meaning city, thus forming Minneapolis. The city was given this name, Water City, due to the large amount of lakes that can be found in and around the city. Next we have Miramar, Florida. Miramar is a word which roughly translates to look at the sea in Spanish. The name was chosen by the founder, A.L. Mailman, even though the city is located inland from the Atlantic Ocean and doesn't offer a direct view of the water. Mailman still, however, thought that the area connected well with the ocean, and was scenic, so he named it Miramar. Next we have Mobile, Alabama. Mobile was named after a local indigenous tribe called the Mobile tribe, and when French colonists founded the city in 1702, they named it after the local tribe. Next we have Modesto, California. In 1870, the Central Pacific Railroad founded a new railway settlement, which is present-day Modesto. At a naming gathering to decide a new name for the new town, it was suggested that the associate of the co-founder of the railway, named William Ralston, be the namesake. However, Ralston declined, and a Spanish railroad employee yelled "My Modesto," which is Spanish for very modest. The comment then became the namesake for the new city, thus Modesto. Next we have Montgomery, Alabama. Montgomery was named after a Continental Army Major General named Richard Montgomery, who died during the American Revolution after a failed invasion of Quebec in 1775. Next we have Moreno Valley, California. Moreno Valley was named after a civil engineer named Frank E. Brown, who played a large role in developing the area in the valley now known as Moreno Valley. Brown decided to name the new city in the valley after himself, so he chose the word Moreno, which is brown in Spanish, combined with valley, that created the name Moreno Valley. Next we have Murfreesboro, Tennessee. When the area was first settled, it was originally called Cannonsburg. However, when the city was established in 1811, on land donated by the Revolutionary War veteran, Colonel William Lytle, the name was changed to Murfreesboro, in honor of one of Colonel Lytle's friends, Colonel Handy Murphy. Next we have Murrieta, California. Murrieta was named after a Spaniard named Ezequiel Murrieta, who, impressed by the landscape of present-day Murrieta, California, purchased 52,000 acres of land in the area and established a ranch in 1873. He soon turned the ranch over to his brother, who then established a city on the land and named it Murrieta after themselves. Next we have Nampa, Idaho. The name comes from the Shoshone Indian word Nampa, which just means footprint or moccasin. The name was likely chosen to reflect the movement and activity of the tribe in the region of present-day southern Idaho. Next we have Naperville, Illinois. Naperville was simply named after its founder, Joseph Napa, who founded the city in 1831. Next we have Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville was first settled as a colonial fort named Fort Nashborough in 1780, and was named after a Revolutionary War soldier named Francis Nash. 4 years later in 1784, the name was simplified to Nashville, which is used to this day. Next we have New Braunfels, Texas. New Braunfels was named after the hometown of its founder, nobleman Prince Karl of Salms-Braunfels, who was from Braunfels, Germany. Braunfels, Germany got its name from Braunfels Castle in the city that stood on brown rock. Braunfels is a German word which means brown rock, and was made the name of the city. Next we have New Haven, Connecticut. It is not exactly known how New Haven got its name, as there are multiple theories floating around. One states that New Haven was named after New Haven, England, but I couldn't find a reason for this. Another theory states that New Haven was named that because it was founded by a group of Putrians who wanted to establish a new place where they could be more free with their religion, a kind of religious haven, hence the name New Haven. Next we have New Orleans, Louisiana. When New Orleans was founded in 1718 by the French, they chose to name the city after the at the time French regent Philippe II, Duke of Orleans, who was the de facto king of France, as regents filled in as king whenever the king was unable to rule. In this case, because King Louis XV was only 5 when it was his time to rule, so the Duke of Orleans took over for 8 years, until King Louis XV was 13. Next we have New York City, New York. Originally settled by the Dutch and called New Amsterdam, present-day New York was taken over by the British in 1664 and was named New York in honour of the Duke of York, who was later King James II of England. Next we have Newark, New Jersey. Now Newark was named after the city of Newark-on-Trent in England for 2 reasons. Not only did it reflect the English heritage of the settlers who established Newark, but it also sounds like the phrase New Work. The phrase Newark symbolises the settlers' aspirations to create a new and bustling community, which is why the name Newark was chosen. Next we have Newport News, Virginia. Newport News was named after English Captain Christopher Newport, who helped establish the Jamestown colony in Virginia in 1607. Captain Newport made multiple supply trips between England and Jamestown, and Newport's news referred to a safe arrival back in Jamestown after gathering supplies. In 1896, when the adjacent city of Newport News was founded, it was named after Captain Newport and his safe arrivals, therefore Newport News. Next we have Norfolk, Virginia. Norfolk was named after Norfolk County in England, most likely because most of the early settlers who settled Norfolk, Virginia in 1682 were from Norfolk, England. Next we have Norman, Oklahoma. Norman was named after a land surveyor employed by the US federal government named Abner E. Norman. In 1870, Norman and his crew were sent out to the present-day Norman area to survey and map out the area and establish a camp there, and called the area Camp Norman. Later in 1889, the city of Norman, Oklahoma was officially established and retained the name of Norman because of Norman's contributions to mapping out the area. Next we have North Charleston, South Carolina. This is incredibly self-explanatory. It is north of Charleston. Next we have North Las Vegas, Nevada. Also incredibly self-explanatory. It's just north of Las Vegas. Next we have Oakland, California. Oakland was simply named due to the abundance of oak trees that existed in the area when it was founded in 1852. Next we have Oceanside, California. This one's self-explanatory. It's adjacent to the Pacific Ocean. Next we have Odessa, Texas. Odessa was named after Odessa, Ukraine, because the founders thought that their landscapes resembled each other and shared lots of similarities. And Odessa, Ukraine in turn got its name from a Greek colony called Odessos that once inhabited the area of present-day Odessa, Ukraine. Next we have Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This one is also extremely self-explanatory and is named after the state it is located in. Next we have Olathe, Kansas. Olathe is a Shawnee Indian word meaning beautiful, and became the name of the new city when it was founded in 1857 by John T. Barton. Barton was impressed by how beautiful the area was, so he named the city Olathe because of how beautiful it was. Next we have Omaha, Nebraska. Omaha is simply named after the indigenous Omaha tribe who inhabited the area of present-day eastern Nebraska, which includes present-day Omaha. Next we have Ontario, California. Ontario was simply named after the Canadian province of Ontario, simply because the founders, George and William Chaffee, were from Ontario. If you want to know how Ontario got its name, then you can watch this video about how each Canadian province got its name. Next we have Orange, California. The city of Orange was named Orange simply because the founders knew that the climate of the area and the soil were very good for growing oranges and citrus. Next we have Orlando, Florida. The origin of the name is uncertain, but the two main theories are that Orlando was named after a soldier named Orlando Reeves, who was a sentinel during the Seminole Wars and was killed by native Indians, and the second theory is that Orlando was named after a cattle rancher, an early settler of the area named Orlando Reeves. The former of the two is the most widely accepted theory, stating that the city was named after Orlando Reeves, who was the Seminole War sentinel. Next we have Overland Park, Kansas. Overland Park was originally a subdivision planned and created back in 1905 by William B. Strang. Strang named the subdivision Overland Park because of its location along the Overland Trail, and added the word park because he envisioned his subdivision turning into a park-like community. Eventually the subdivision grew into the suburban city of Overland Park, Kansas. Next we have Oxnard, California. Oxnard was simply named after its founder, Henry T. Oxnard. Next we have Palm Bay, Florida. Palm Bay was named after the natural geography and vegetation in the area. When settlers first came to present-day Palm Bay, they saw the Indian River Lagoon and thought some parts looked like a bay. They also saw lots of sabal palm trees and decided to name the area after the bay-like appearance and the palm trees, hence the name Palm Bay. Next we have Palmdale, California. The name Palmdale was given to the city because of a group of European, mainly German settlers who arrived in the area and mistook the native Joshua trees for palm trees. They named their new settlement Palmmental, which is German for Palm Valley. Eventually, over time, the name Palmmental evolved into the name Palmdale, which is used presently. And finally, we have Pasadena, California. Pasadena is simply a Chippewa Indian word meaning valley, and was given to the city because of its location in a valley. And that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, then make sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.